Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for standing by for Nio Incorporated's second quarter 2021 earnings conference call. At this time, all participants are in a listen-only mode. Today's conference is being recorded. I will turn the call over to your host, Ms. Eve Tang, Investor Relations of the company. Please go ahead, Eve.
Good morning and good evening, everyone. Welcome to Nio's second quarter 2021 earnings conference call. The company's financial and operating results were published in the press release earlier today and are posted at the company's IR website. On today's call, we have Mr. William Li, Founder, Chairman of the Board, and Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Stephen Feng, Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Stanley Qu, VP of Finance, and Ms. Jade Wei, AVP of Capital Markets and Investor Relations. Before we continue, please be kindly reminded that today's discussion will contain forward-looking statements made under the safe harbor provisions of the U.S. Private Securities Litigation Reform Act of 1995. Forward-looking statements involve inherent risks and uncertainties. As such, the company's actual results may be materially different from the views expressed today. Further information regarding risks and uncertainties is included in certain filings of the company with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. The company does not assume any obligation to update any forward-looking statements except as required under applicable law. Please also note that Nio's earnings press release and this conference call include discussions of unaudited GAAP financial information as well as unaudited non-GAAP financial measures. Please refer to Nio's press release, which contains a reconciliation of the unaudited non-GAAP measures to comparable GAAP measures. With that, I will now turn the call over to our CEO, Mr. William Li. William, please go ahead.
大家好，非常感谢各位参加未来2021第二季度的电话会议。
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining Nio's second quarter 2021 earnings call.
2021年第二季度，未来季度的交付再创新高，总共交付了21,896辆 ES8、ES6 和 EC6， 同比增长 111.9%。7月份，我们的交付量达到7,931台，同比增长 124.5%。未来现有3款车型的表现都很强劲。
In the second quarter of 2021, Nio delivered 21,896 ES8, ES6, and EC6, a new quarterly record representing a strong increase of 111.9% year over year. In July, Nio delivered 7,931 vehicles, representing a strong 124.5% growth from last year. All three models have achieved a solid performance in the premium SUV market.
根据乘联会的公开数据，1到6月份，中国纯电汽车在市场的渗透率已经达到 8.4%， 未来在1、2线城市的渗透率在快速上升。在上海，今年上半年，我们在所有高端 SUV 的市场渗透率已经达到了 13.7%， 未来的月度新增订单持续增长。目前我们交付量的上限主要受供应端的影响，预计2021年第3季度的总交付量将达到23,000到25,000辆。
According to the data published by China Passenger Car Association, in the first half of 2021, the penetration rate of battery electric vehicles has reached 8.4% in China. Nio's penetration in the Tier 1 and the Tier 2 cities in China has been growing at a much faster pace. In Shanghai, the first half of this year has witnessed our penetration in the premium SUV segment, reaching 13.7% among all ICE and electric vehicles. Our monthly order intake keeps growing, but the delivery volume will be determined by the overall capacity of a supply chain. We expect the total delivery in the third quarter to be between 23,000 and 25,000 vehicles.
在毛利率方面，我们二季度的毛利保持稳定，整车毛利率达到 20.3%， 综合毛利率为 18.6%。
In terms of gross margins, we have achieved a steady performance with a vehicle gross margin and overall gross margin standing at 20.3% and 18.6% respectively.
接下来我跟大家交流一下公司运营方面的一些重点工作。
Next, I would like to share with you some recent operational highlights of the company.
5月 ET7 首台生产线验证样车下线，我们已经开始了一系列严苛的整车功能、性能和法规测试。我们对 ET7 的按期交付充满信心。未来新一代自动驾驶系统 NAD 的开发工作进展顺利，我们相信 NAD 将全面超越市场主流自动驾驶系统的体验，引领行业自动驾驶技术的发展。
Since the first validation build of ET7 rolled off the production line in May, a series of rigorous tests of vehicle functionality, performance, and homologation have been kicked off. We are very confident with the on-time delivery of ET7 next year. Meanwhile, the development of NAD, new generation autonomous driving system, is also advancing smoothly. We believe that NAD will deliver the best experience of autonomous driving and lead the charge of autonomous driving technology development in the industry.
2022年，我们将交付包括 ET7 在内的基于 NT2 平台的3款全新车型。目前，新产品的研发工作正在全力以赴的推进过程中。
In 2022, we plan to deliver 3 new products based on new technology platform 2.0, including ET7. Our teams are devoting every effort to press forward the development of the new products.
与此同时 ，NT1 的技术平台也在持续优化，以加强我们现有3款车型的市场竞争力。8月份，我们将发布 Nio OS 3.0， 全面升级 UI/UX， 提供更多的新功能，进一步优化现有的功能体验。通过持续的 OTA 升级 ，Nio Pilot 的功能体验也在逐渐提升，越来越多的用户选择和使用 Nio Pilot。2季度 Nio Pilot 的选配率已经超过了 80%， 截至7月份 ，Nio Pilot 的自动辅助驾驶里程的总里程已经超过了2亿公里。
In the meantime, we are also constantly optimizing and upgrading the new technology platform 1.0 to strengthen the competitiveness of our current 3 models. In late August, we will release the Nio OS 3.0, which will roll out with a fresh new look of UI/UX design, new features, and further optimization of the existing functions. Through continuous over-the-air updates, the functionality and experience of a new palette have also been improved. As a result, more and more users have chosen and enjoyed new palette. In the second quarter, the take rate of a new palette exceeded 80%. As of July, new palette has been engaged for a total of over 200 million kilometers.
产能方面，2季度虽然受到了芯片供应波动的影响，但在团队和合作伙伴的共同努力下，总体季度生产和交付达到预期。基于7月份以来，疫情和极端的天气状况给全球供应链带来了持续的挑战。近期，中国部分地区的疫情已经影响了我们的生产，我们会与供应链合作伙伴一起努力，尽量降低供应链波动对3季度总体生产和交付的影响。
In terms of production capacity, despite the semiconductor supply volatilities in the second quarter, with joint efforts of the teams and of the partners, the production and the delivery have met our expectations in the quarter. Since July, the COVID-19 pandemic and extreme weather events have posed a series of challenges to the global supply chain. The most recent COVID situation in certain regions in China have already affected our production. We will continue to work closely with our supply chain partners to minimize the impact on the production and the delivery in the third quarter.
销售和服务网络方面，我们现有25个未来中心和243个未来空间，覆盖中国128个城市。我们会继续加强未来中心和未来空间的建设，扩大销售网络覆盖，更快地深度到2、3线城市。目前，我们在133个城市拥有36家未来服务中心和171家授权服务中心。我们将进一步拓展更多的服务中心，以满足快速增长的用户服务需求。
With regards to the sales and service network, we now have 25 new houses and 243 new spaces in 128 cities in China. We will continue to deploy our new houses and new spaces, improve operational efficiency and quality, and expand sales network coverage to quickly build our presence in the Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. As of now, we have set up 36 new service centers and 171 authorized service centers in 133 cities. We will further increase the number of service centers to meet the rapidly growing user service demand.
在充换电网络方面，我们已经建成361座换电站，覆盖103个城市，为我们的用户完成了超过300万次换电。我们在7月份发布了 Nio Q2 换电站布局计划，计划到今年底建成超过700座换电站，到2025年底，未来换电站的全球总数将超过4000座。
Up until now, we have deployed 361 swap stations in 103 cities and completed over 3 million battery swaps for our users. In July, we announced Nio Power's battery swap station deployment plan by 2025. We plan to increase the total number of battery swap stations to over 700 by the end of 2021 and to over 4,000 globally by the end of 2025.
我们也在进一步加大超充网络和目的地充电桩的建设。截至目前，我们已经在全国累计部署超过238座超充站和2416根目的地充电桩。
On the other hand, we're also expanding our power charging and destination charging network. As of now, we have established over 238 power charging stations and installed 2,416 destination chargers in China.
随着充换电网络布局的加快，用户对 BaaS 可充可换可升级模式理解的加深，越来越多的用户可以切身地感受到换电和 BaaS 带来的优势，选择 BaaS 的用户也在不断攀升。
With the accelerated deployment of the charging and swapping network and deepening understanding of BaaS, more and more people can truly experience and recognize the benefits of battery swapping and BaaS, which has attracted more users to choose battery as a service.
国际市场方面，挪威的市场进入工作在有条不紊地进行，未来首批 ES8 已经发运，预计8月中下旬抵达挪威，9月份开启预定和交付工作。从9月份开始 ，Nio App、Nio Life 未来中心、Nio Power 可充可换可升级的服务体系，未来服务与交付中心都将陆续与挪威用户见面。
On the front of the global market, the Norway market entry has been progressing as planned. The first batch of ES8 has been shipped and is expected to arrive in Norway in mid or late August to be ready for the pre-order and delivery in September. Starting from September, Nio App, Nio Life, Nio House, Nio Power's chargeable, swappable, and upgradable service system, Nio Service Center and the Delivery Center will gradually become available to users in Norway.
作为一家用户企业，用户已经在未来社区发挥着越来越重要的作用。Nio Day 2021的筹办工作已经正式展开，经过踊跃的用户投票，苏州从10个申办城市中脱颖而出，成为今年 Nio Day 的主办城市。
As a user enterprise, our users are playing an increasingly important role in the Nio community. The preparation for Nio Day 2021 has been kicked off with the active participation of our users. Suzhou, out of 10 candidate cities, has been voted to be the host city of this year's Nio Day.
用户社区携手未来也在为社会做出积极贡献。7月，郑州和河南多地遭受了暴雨和内涝的灾害，未来调集全国的服务资源，支持河南的用户，向未来和其他品牌的用户提供可用充电桩的实时信息，并通过专款和信托的专项基金等方式来支持抗灾救灾工作。
Our user community has also joined us in making a positive difference in the world. In July, the city of Zhengzhou and a few places in Henan province were hit by heavy rainfalls and floods. Nio dispatched service resources nationwide to support users in Henan, provided real-time usable charging power information to both Nio users and users of other EV brands, and supported the disaster response and relief work with donation and the special purpose fund of Nio User Trust.
2021年是未来为长远发展打下坚实基础的关键一年。下半年，我们将加快新产品和全站技术的研发，加大充换电和销售服务网络的建设投入，为明年3款新产品的交付做好充分准备。
2021 is a critical year for Nio to lay a solid foundation for its long-term development. Going forward into the second half of 2021, we will accelerate the pace of new products and full-stack technology development, enhance our charging and swapping network, as well as the sales and service network, to be fully prepared for the delivery of the 3 new models in 2022.
与此同时，未来进入大众市场的相关准备工作也已经提速。我们将通过新的品牌进入大众市场，目前已经建立了核心团队，迈出了重要的一步。
At the same time, we have also stepped up our mass market entry preparation. We will enter the mass market with a new brand. The core team of the new brand has been assembled, marking the first step of the strategic initiative of Nio.
感谢大家的支持。现在 Steven 将为大家介绍第2季度的财务业绩。有请 Steven。
As always, thank you for your support. With that, I will now turn the call over to Stephen to provide the financial details for the quarter. Stephen, please go ahead.
Thank you, William. I will now go over our key financial results for the second quarter of 2021. And to be mindful of the length of this call, I encourage listeners to refer to our earnings press release, which is posted online for additional details. Our total revenues in the second quarter were 8.45 billion RMB, or $1.31 billion, representing an increase of 127.2% year-over-year, and increase of 5.8% quarter-over-quarter. Our total revenues are made of 2 parts: vehicle sales and other sales. Vehicle sales in the second quarter were 7.91 billion RMB, or $1.23 billion, accounting for 94% of total revenues in this quarter. It represented an increase of 127% year-over-year, an increase of 6.8% quarter-over-quarter. The increase in vehicle sales year-over-year was mainly attributed to higher deliveries achieved from more product mix offered to our users. The increase in vehicle sales quarter-over-quarter was mainly due to higher deliveries. Other sales in the second quarter were 500 36.2 million RMB, or $83.1 million, representing an increase of 130.3% year-over-year and a decrease of 7% quarter-over-quarter. The increase in other sales year-over-year was in line with the incremental vehicle sales in the second quarter of 2021. The decrease in other sales quarter-over-quarter was mainly due to the less revenues derived from 100 kWh battery upgrade service. Cost of sales in the second quarter was 6.87 billion RMB, or $1.06 billion, representing an increase of 101.8% year-over-year, an increase of 6.9% quarter-over-quarter. The increase in cost of sales was in line with revenue growth, which was mainly driven by the increase of vehicle delivered volume in the second quarter of 2021. Gross profit in the second quarter was 1.57 billion RMB, or $0.24 billion, representing an increase of 402.7% from the same quarter of 2020, an increase of 1.2% from the first quarter of 2021. The increase in gross profit was mainly contributed by increased vehicle sales. Gross margin in the second quarter was 18.6%, compared with 8.4% in the same quarter of 2020 and 19.5% in the first quarter of 2021. The increase of gross margin compared to the second quarter of 2020 was mainly driven by the increase of vehicle margin in the second quarter of 2021. Gross margin remained relatively stable compared to the first quarter of 2021. More specifically, vehicle margin in the second quarter was 20.3%, compared with 9.7% in the same quarter of 2020 and 21.2% in the first quarter of 2021. The increase of vehicle margin year-over-year was mainly driven by the increase of vehicle volume, higher average selling price, as well as lower material cost. Vehicle margin remained relatively stable quarter-over-quarter. R&D expenses in the second quarter were 883.7 million RMB, or $136.9 million, representing an increase of 62.1% year-over-year, an increase of 28.7% quarter-over-quarter. The increase of R&D expenses year-over-year and quarter-over-quarter was mainly attributed to incremental design and development costs for new products and technologies, as well as the increased number of employees in research and development functions. SG&A expenses in the second quarter were 1.5 billion RMB, or $0.23 billion, representing an increase of 59.9% year-over-year, an increase of 25.1% quarter-over-quarter. The increase in SG&A expenses year-over-year was primarily due to the increased marketing activities, as well as the increased number of employees in sales and service functions. The increase in SG&A expenses quarter-over-quarter was primarily due to the increased marketing and promotional activities and professional services. Loss for operations. The second quarter was 763.3 million RMB, or $118.2 million, representing a decrease of 34.2% year-over-year, an increase of 158% quarter-over-quarter. Share-based compensation expenses in the second quarter were 251.4 million RMB, or $38.9 million, representing an increase of 455% year-over-year, an increase of 163% 60.5% quarter-over-quarter. The increase in share-based compensation expenses was primarily attributed to additional options and restricted shares granted. Net loss in the second quarter was 587.2 million RMB, or $90.9 million, representing a decrease of 50.1% year-over-year, an increase of 30.2% quarter-over-quarter. Net loss attributable to Nio's ordinary shareholders in the second quarter was 659.3 million RMB, or $102.1 million, representing a decrease of 45.4% year-over-year and a decrease of 86.5% quarter-over-quarter in the second quarter of 2021. Basic and diluted net loss per ADS in the second quarter were both 0.42 RMB, or 7 cents per ADS. Excluding share-based compensation expenses and accretion on redeemable non-controlling interests to redemption value, non-GAAP adjusted basic and diluted net loss per ADS were both 0.21 RMB, or 3 cents per ADS. Our balance of cash and cash equivalents, restricted cash and short-term investment was 48.3 billion RMB, or $7.5 billion as of June 30, 2021. And now for our business outlook. As William mentioned, for the third quarter of 2021, the company expects deliveries to be between 23,000 and 25,000 vehicles, representing an increase of approximately 88.4% to 104.8% from the same quarter of 2020, an increase of approximately 5% to 14.2% from the second quarter of 2021. The company also expects the total revenues of the third quarter of 2021 to be between 8.91 billion RMB and 9.63 billion RMB, representing an increase of approximately 96.9% to 112.8% from the same quarter of 2020, an increase of approximately 5.5% to 14% from the second quarter of 2021. This business outlook reflects the company's current and preliminary view on the business situation and market condition, which is subject to change. Now, this concludes our prepared remarks. I will now turn the call over to the operator to facilitate our Q&A session.
Thank you so much. If you would like to ask a question, it's star and one on your telephone keypad. For the benefit of all participants on today's call, please limit yourself to 2 questions. And if you have additional questions, you can re-enter the queue. Again, it's star and one if you wish to ask a question. And our first question comes from the line of Tim Zhao from MS. Tim, your line is now open.
Hi, William, Stephen, and Tim. Congratulations on the result, and thanks for taking my questions. Just 2 quick questions from me. First question is about the new models. Could you please elaborate a little more about the 2 new models scheduled for 2022, other than ET7, regarding the timing, spec, rough price range, etc. As market previously anticipated to have just 1 new model next year, so I think this serves as upside surprise. So any colors would be highly appreciated. So that's the first question. And my second question is that with Nio's total battery consumptions likely reaching 16 or 18 gigawatt hours next year, will there be any major changes to Nio's battery sourcing strategy? will CATL stays as the sole supplier, or Nio might consider looking for a second source? And in light of such a close tied up with CATL, between CATL and Nio, for both EV and battery asset management company, can Nio diversify to other partners to hedge the risk if needed? Those are my two questions. Thank you.
好，谢谢 Tim。对这个，我们因为 NT2 的这个技术的话呢，会最先在 ET7 上搭载。当然目前我们的 ET7 的和 NAD 的研发工作都还是非常顺利的，这个各方面的工作，当然挑战很大，但总体上来说，目前我们还是有信心能够如期交付的。但明年的另外2款新的车型，这个还是请允许我有一些这个保守一点小的秘密，我们在这个合适的时候会跟大家交流啊。这个当然我们从一个价格的一个 range 方面来讲的话呢，大家也应该清楚，电池的成本这2年这个有不少的下降。那我们的这个整个的这个公司的这个量，因为上来了以后，我们的这个成本也有下降的空间，所以明年肯定有一款车呢是会比现有的我们所有的车都要再低一些，会是我们明年我们会发布一款在 Nio 的品牌下边，应该说是价格最低的车型啊。但是 Nio 自己的话呢，不会去发布太便宜的车型。其实今年我也特别强调，我们会通过一个新的品牌进入到大众市场。那这是一个目前能够说的大概的一个情况。
I believe everybody knows that the new technology 2.0 is going to be first applied to ET7. The current development progress of ET7 and NAD is on track, and we are quite confident about the on-time delivery of ET7 next year, although the challenges is quite significant. For the other 2 products, I believe probably it's better for me to share more information at a more appropriate time. Regarding the pricing, of course, in recent years, the battery cost has declined a little bit, and as our volume goes up, our BOM cost will also have some opportunity to go down. So for the next year's product, we probably will have one of the lowest pricing products under the Nio brand. But as I explained before, we are going to have a new brand for the mass market. So under the Nio brand, we're not going to have many no pricing products.
对，第二个问题就是明年我们对电池的这个需求，肯定会显著的增长啊。特别是我们的新车型这个发布了以后，我们相信这个电池的这个产能需求会比今年会有很大的一个跃升。但目前我们和这个 CATL 也在我们一直在讨论怎么增加这个电池的产能的供应。那从目前来讲的话呢，我们还是会把 CATL 作为我们最主要的这样一个合作伙伴啊。那我们和 CATL 合作关系也非常的好。那我们在最新的一些电池技术还有包括产能的保障方面我们都有非常深入的一个交流。那从目前来讲的话，我们认为这样的一个策略还是对我们的这个公司的现阶段的发展来讲，还是最好的一个策略。
Next year, we believe the demand for the battery capacity is going to go up significantly, especially considering the new product lineup. We believe the battery production capacity demand is going to jump significantly compared with this year. We are having intense discussions with CATL regarding the battery capacity supply. Currently, we believe CATL is a very good and important partner for us, and we also have a very good relationship with CATL. We have very in-depth discussions regarding the battery technology as well as the battery production assurance. So we believe this current strategy can serve the best interest of the company at the current stage of development.
Thank you. Very clear. 谢谢。
Thank you so much. And your next question comes from the line of Ming Sun Lee from BofA Securities. Ming, your line is now open.
Thank you. Good morning, William, Stephen, and the team. Congrats for the good results. So I have two questions. The first question is regarding the component supply. We know you already have more large size battery supply starting in June, but right now consider the pandemic in China and also overseas countries such as Malaysia. So what kind of impact do you expect on the production side, especially for your component supply capacity? So that's my question, first question. And the second question is regarding your business in overseas market. So in your third quarter volume guidance, how many units do you expect to ship in Norway? And will you start to provide better service in overseas market? Yeah, that's my two questions. Thank you.
对，这个确实疫情这个影响的话，这个确实是全球性的。那我们事实上从去年开始就一直在这个我们的供应链的团队和我们的合作伙伴一起，一直都已经被训练出来了，怎么应对这个动态的一个局面。但近期的话呢，我们这个前面我其实在前面发言的时候已经提到。那其实近期中国这个反弹的疫情对我们的影响还是已经产生了。那我们有一家这种JIT 件，就是内饰板的件的供应商的合作伙伴，那么他正好在这个南京的这个高风险区，所以现在的话呢，他们事实上现在是已经在一个停产的状态。那当然我们希望能够，我们看到南京这两天已经是恢复了这个已经变成0了啊，我们希望能够尽早的能够开放这个生产。所以前面我也讲到，我们事实上3季度的这个交付的上限主要是受这个供应链的这个供应的这个影响。那么这中间的话呢，确实近期中国的疫情的影响还是比较大的。那马来西亚的这个影响的话呢，这个大家我想在汽车行业大家都非常清楚，这个马来西亚的这个疫情导致一些芯片的这个工厂的一个停产的话，这个对全球汽车的供应链的话都有很大的影响。当然这个可能这个不光是我们一家吧，这个是整个行业的情况。那我们呢这个也做了一些应对的措施。目前来看的话呢，马来西亚的这个疫情的影响对我们影响还可控。另外一个风险点的话呢，对于我们来说，就是因为我们有一些从德国进口的一些零部件，那么受到德国的洪水的影响，有些工厂被洪水这个摧毁了。那这方面我们和我们的合作伙伴也应该说已经找到了一些 solution， 所以影响目前来说还可控。所以3季度确实挑战在这个供应链端的挑战确实非常大。
Yes, the pandemic situation is affecting the global supply chain. Last year, I believe our supply chain partners and Nio have been trained significantly to cope with this kind of challenges. In my prepared remarks, I have also mentioned over the recent COVID situations in certain regions in China have affected our production. Specifically is a just-in-time component partner located in Nanjing's high-risk area. This partner has already suspended their production, and we have seen some good news is coming out of Nanjing. It seems that the COVID cases in Nanjing has already dropped to 0, so we hope this partner can resume the production as soon as possible. The third quarter delivery volume will mainly be determined by the overall capacity of the supply chain. So there will be a lot of challenges that we need to deal with. For example, you also mentioned about the pandemic situation in Malaysia. This has also affected the semiconductor supply to the global market, not just for Nio, but also many other companies. But the pandemic situation in Malaysia, basically, we believe that the impact for us is not that big and should be under control. Another situation is the flood in Germany. Our partner is also affected in the flooding because one factory is flooded during the extreme weather event in Germany, and our partners have been working with us to identify the solution. Right now, we believe that the situation is under control. So overall speaking, the delivery volume in the third quarter will mainly be restrained by the overall capacity of the supply chain.
overall 的overseas 的这个 market 就挪威的这个交付的话呢，我们在 Q3 不会有太多的量啊。这个其实从今年的角度来讲的话呢，对我们整体的量的增加都不会太多啊。我们在这个挪威市场的话呢，我们还是把这个搭建整体的这个品牌和服务的体系啊，把用户的满意度做好，这个还是作为我们的一个最优先的一个目标啊。我们在这个国际市场的拓展方面是非常长期的一个思考，我们也希望这个投资者能跟我们一起保持耐心。但从目前来讲的话呢，我们的准备工作是非常充分的。那我们早期的这样的一些用户顾问团，我们叫 UAB， 那对我们的这个帮助和对我们的帮助也很大啊。那对我们的各方面的评价也非常不错。所以这个今年的量啊不会有太多的这个增加，但是我们更看重的是它的长期的战略意义。
Regarding the delivery in Norway, we believe for this year, the contribution is not going to be that significant because our priority is to make sure we can ensure high user satisfaction in the Norway market by building our brand, expanding our sales and service network. For the global market, we believe the more important thing is to focus on the long-term thinking, and we would like to ask everyone's patience in this regard. Recently, we have been working together with our prospective users in Norway to set up a user advisory. They have helped us significantly and provided many constructive and good feedback to us. So we believe this is a very good beginning for us, and this is part of our long-term strategy for the global market.
Thank you, Min.
William.
And me, of course, in global market, we also offer our BaaS business model, because we believe BaaS together with Battery Swap can offer user a very holistic experience and combine together in a very efficient way for our users to get the cars charged at home and on the go.
Yeah, 从我们现在在挪威的这个user advisory 的 board 这个反馈来看的话，大家对这个 swap station 和 BaaS 的这样一个服务模式都是非常期待。
According to the preliminary feedback we got from the Norway User Advisory Board, it seems that everyone is quite excited about the battery swapping stations and the battery as a service business model.
Thank you.
Thank you, Min.
Thank you so much. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, it's star and one if you wish to ask a question. Again, it's star and one if you wish to ask a question. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, if you wish to ask a question, it's star and one on your telephone keypad. And your next question comes from the line of Nikolai from JP Morgan. Nick,
Thank
your
you.
line is now open.
Yes, thank you, William and Stephen. Great result indeed. I have two number-related questions. The first one is related to gross profit margin. Yeah, I mean, 2Q against 1Q, roughly margin was flat, but still at the vehicle level or overall GP margin, it was still down roughly about 1 percentage point. Can you help us understand or explain a little bit more on the margin, slight shortfall in 2Q? Is that related to bond or input material price or other factor? I mean, I noticed the second quarter ASP is slightly down from 1Q. And how should we think about 3Q? So that's one is a margin-related question. Can you help us understand a bit more or explain a bit more on 2Q margin dynamic against 1Q? And how should we think about that as we enter third quarter? And the second question also related to number is look at the cash on balance sheet. Altogether, cash equivalent and short investment by the end of first half, we have 48 billion RMB cash. That's roughly about $7.5 billion. And that's a lot of cash on balance sheet. If you can help us understand what's our cash, what's our strategy using the cash on balance sheet in terms of CapEx investment. I noticed JC has new capacity expansion, and presumably as we are launching more model in 2022, we'll need to invest in R&D, new model tooling altogether. So if you can help us understand a bit more on our CapEx or investment in the next 1 year or so, that would be very useful. Thank you.
Hi, Nick. This is Stanley. Regarding your first question about the gross profit margin, there are two reasons about if we break down into details. The first is average selling price decreased about 8,000 per vehicle in Q2. The main reason is more ES6 were sold in Q2 compared with Q1. Since ES6 is with a little bit lower gross profit margin and selling price. But due to our cost-saving efforts in Q2, the average vehicle cost also decreased about 3,000 per vehicle. So combine the two factors together, our net gross profit margin per vehicle decreased about 5,000. Okay, that's the reason for the vehicle margin. And we announced today we announced three new brand new products we will deliver in 2022. And we also refreshed our product plan. And for the conservative perspective, we like to shorten our the depreciation amortizing periods for our existing products. So that will lead to the D&A increase. So for the second half year of 2021, this impact to gross profit margin will be 2% per vehicle. So yeah, that's the first question. And the second one is regarding the cash balance. As you mentioned, the cash balance at the end of Q2 is 48 billion RMB. As we mentioned, we will still focus on the research and development of our new product technology. So and about the other usage, we will also increase our capex investments, including our new plant and new sales and marketing network infrastructure in the coming years. So it will be in line with our business plan in the next years. Yeah. Okay.
Can you remind us what our capex target for the year? Do we have any number or guidance, please?
We expect the total capex in this year will be 5 billion RMB, including the new plant and also the service and sales network and also power swap station.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you, Nick. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And your next question comes from the line of Bin Wang from Credit Suisse. Bin, your line is now open.
Okay, thank you so much. My first one is more follow-up about our gross margin. Because you actually got that Nio Pilot has been increased quite substantially in the attach rate to 80%. What's the number in the first quarter? And what's the margin increase from this increasing Nio Pilot take rate? And that is the number one question. And number two is about your long-term market share, because the peers actually, one peers actually announced 10% market share, and the other one 20%. And what's the Nio's plan for 2025 for the market share? Because we have a mass market brand. Can I assume that the mass market brand will start to sell in 2023? Because this year, 3 products seems to be all came from Nio brand, and it's because you already accelerated the R&D, so it's not going to be 2023. That is the second one. And the third one is about your data or offline store expansion plan. If you see your peers who actually get more strategic cooperation with the big data groups such as Zhongsheng, but I heard that some of your existing partner for Nio space seems to be buy back by Nios. So which means in the long term, maybe Nio don't have any third-party partners for Nio space. Is that true? What's your long-term strategy about the offline store expansion plan? Thank you.
好，谢谢。Nio Pilot 的这个影响，因为我们这个80%的这个 take rate 的话，这里面我们Nio Pilot 现在分成这个精选这个包和这个全配包啊，那这个80%是所有的含在一起的，所以具体的这个毛利的影响的话呢，差不多在3个点左右吧，我觉得平均下来的话3到4个点左右。
Yeah, since yeah.
So regarding the margin contribution of the Nio Pilot, as we mentioned, the take rate of a Nio Pilot has reached 80%. For this 80%, it includes both the selected pack and the full pack of the Nio Pilot. So we believe the overall contribution from the Nio Pilot is around 3 to 4%.
Yeah, since Nio Pilots, the price of Nio Pilot is included in the selling price of vehicles. So we have no the separate gross profit margin calculation for the Nio Pilot. Yeah.
当然，这个从长期来讲的话呢，我们因为 NAD 会采用这个 AD as a service 的订阅的模式，所以如果从一个长期的角度来讲的话，我们将来在这一部分的话呢，是订阅费的这一部分的话是进入到我们整个的其他的毛利里边啊，这个是从一个长期的展望的角度来讲。那我们这个从目前我们的一个长远的规划的角度来讲的话呢，我们 NT2 的车型的毛利的情况应该能够跟现在相比的话能够有一个提升啊。那我们一个总体的一个策略的话呢，就是希望在整车的毛利这一部分能够一个长期的计划是在25左右啊，那不包含补贴，因为我们的不包含那个积分的收入，因为我们积分的收入都是放在这个其他毛利里边。那其他的毛利的话，我们相信这个它是基于一个存量用户的一个逻辑，我们相信长期的这个表现会越来越好，因为我们的包括我们 AD as a service 的这个收入，我们 Battery as a service 里面的电池升级的收入，还有我们 Near Life， 还有我们的一些碳排放的积分的收入，我们都会放到这个其他毛利里边。而且 NAD 的，就我刚才讲了 NAD 的这些也都会放在里边。所以从一个毛利的一个长期的一个角度来讲的话，我们是 step by step 的去按照这个计划去走的。那先翻译一下。
For the NAD, because we're going to use the AD as a service model to provide the NAD services to our users. Long-term speaking, we believe the AD as a service contribution is going to be included in the other margin, and the long-term plan for the margin of the NT 2.0 is going to be much better than the margin of the NT 1.0. For the vehicle gross margin, we believe the target for us in the long run is 25%, excluding the carbon credits, because the carbon credits should be included in other margins. And we believe the logic of other margin is about the install base or the install base of our users. For the long run, it will get better considering the future possibilities and opportunities, including AD as a service, battery as a service, upgrade in your life, carbon credits. So we believe overall speaking, the overall gross margin and the vehicle gross margin will improve.
第二个问题就是长期的市场份额，当然我们非常看重我们在我们所在的这个细分市场的这个份额的提高啊。那我们就像我们 ES8 在中大型的高端的这个 SUV 里边，那我们的 ES6 在高端的中型的 SUV 里边，我们都看到这个市场份额在一直在提高。那说到2025年，我们具体能占到多少？当然我们会有很积极的目标，但是我们从来也不会对外去说这个我们的一个市场份额的目标。我们其实从公司来讲的话，我们一直的目标都是非常明确，我们希望成为用户最满意的品牌。那我们相信我们的产品和服务如果能让用户满意的话，我们的 market share 它很自然的会到我们期望的一个点。如果我们去看一些这个数据的话呢，比如说这个我们在这个中国现在市场里面的这种高端的纯电的 SUV 里边那如果在我们的价格区间的话，我还是想强调一下价格区间，对吧？如果你去用50宏光的这个 mini EV 去和我们比这个销量，我觉得这个意义不是特别的大。那如果我们就看在价格我们所在的价格区间，我们和奥迪和宝马和 Mercedes 包括和 Model Y 的和 Tesla 的 Model S、Model X、Model Y 的高配的版本，那如果去比的话呢，我们在高端的纯电的 SUV 的这个市场里面，我们事实上现在是超过一半的市场份额的那我想这是一个 fact。所以从长期来讲，我们对于这个提高总体的在所有的车的销量里面的这个市场份额，我们还是非常有信心的。如果我们看我们在上海的话，那我们在所有的这种SUV 高端 SUV 里面，包括油车，包括所有的车，我们在市场份额已经接近14%。那么在今年上半年那其实这个还是一个比较高的一个数字我们在一线城市已经做到了。所以总体上来讲，我们还是 focus 在产品上 ，focus 在用户的服务的满意度上，这个一直都是我们 focus 的焦点。我们觉得 market share 我们当然会有这个经营的目标，但是这个从来不是我们 announce 的东西。
Regarding the long-term target of the market share, for us, of course, we pay attention to our specific market share or the penetration in the corresponding segment of our products. So for example, the ES8 in the large and mid-size SUV market segment and the ES6 in the mid-size SUV segment. Internally, of course, we have a very aggressive market share target by 2025, but we don't actually want to disclose this target. For us, we believe our target as a company should be to build a company with the highest user satisfaction rate. So that is why our focus is on the product and the service. We believe if we can achieve the highest user satisfaction rate with our product and service, then it should be then a natural thing for us to achieve satisfactory market share. In the China market, so I would like to talk a little bit about the battery electric SUV premium market segment. For this segment, I would like to emphasize a little bit about the pricing, because when we compare the specific sales volume of one brand or one product, I think it does not make sense to compare those kind of metrics without thinking about the specific pricing segment. For example, it does not make sense for us to compare the sales volume of Wuling Mini EV with the sales volume of Nio, because we don't have the same pricing and we don't actually compete in the same segment. In our specific pricing segment, we have companies like Audi, BMW, Mercedes, and for Tesla, they also have Model S, Model X, and Model Y. So in this specific pricing segment, our overall market share has already exceeded 50%. So we are quite confident to further improve our market share in this specific segment. In Shanghai, as I mentioned before, in the premium SUV segment, including the ICEs and the electric vehicles, we have already reached close to 14% market penetration in the first half of this year. This is already quite high, and we have already achieved this in the tier 1 cities. So we believe this is a very good indicator for our next step to penetrate into more markets in different cities. Because, as I mentioned, our focus is to make sure we have the best product and the services and to achieve the highest user satisfactions. So we believe as long as we stick to this vision and this objective, it should be quite natural for us to achieve our market share targets in the long run.
那第三个问题就是，我们确实在19年的下半年到去年的上半年，我们有这个 Nio Space Partner 的这样一个方式。那对于我们当时快速的扩展销售网络是非常有帮助的。那对我们的 Nio 在那个阶段的发展起了非常大的作用。但是我们也意识到这样的一个方式的话呢，对于我们的 brand， 对于我们的管理也带来了很多的挑战。所以从去年的 Q3 开始，我们事实上就完全转到Nio Space 的建设就完全转到我们直营为主了，完全转成我们直营了。那么在今年的6月份我们和我们的 Nio Space 的 partner 100多位Nio Space partner， 我们也达成了非常好的一个一致的一个协议，就是说我们会把 Nio Space Partner 的这些他们开的这些 Nio Space 逐步的都转成这个直营那目前绝大部分的这个 Partner 都已经跟我们完成了这个协议都跟我们签署了这个协议。那当然还有一些的话呢，我们也会履约到合同到期。我们现在这个目前来讲 Nio House 和 Nio Space 新开的这些，我们肯定都是完全的直营。
Yes, from the second half of 2019 to the first half of 2020, we have tried the Nio Space partner approach. We believe the Nio Space partners have contributed to our expansion of the sales network and the sales volume growth. But right now, when we look at the overall brand and the management complexity, we believe it makes more sense for us to manage the Nio Spaces by ourselves. So starting from the third quarter of 2020, we have changed this strategy, and we would like to make sure for the Nio Spaces we can manage and build by Nio. So we discussed with our Nio Space partners and reached agreements with the majority of the Nio Space partners to transform their Nio Spaces to the Nio Spaces operated by Nio. So the majority of the Nio Space partners have already signed the agreement with us, and for the rest of the Nio Space partners, we will continue our cooperation with them until the termination of the contract. For all the new Nio Spaces, these are all built and operated by Nio.
Thank you, Bin.
Thank you. By the way, can you answer the question about whether it will be 2023 for the new mass market brand business? Thank you.
对，如果去看这个我们 Nio 推出产品的速度我想大家应该这个都知道，我们其实一直来说我们的研发的效率还是非常高的那我们推出新产品的速度还是比较快的。当然mass market 的这个 brand 的话呢，我们肯定是一个长期的战略的思考。那我们的研发速度、研发效率，我相信在 Nio 的基础之上肯定只会更快，但具体的时间的话，我们还要根据各方面的技术的情况、市场的情况，那我们会去这个更从容的去决定当然现在还太早去说到底是什么时候推出
好，非常感谢 ，Thank you.
Regarding the launch of the mass market products, of course, our R&D efficiency is quite high, and I believe this is the common standing of everyone. Nio has been able to launch products one after another in a very fast manner. So for the mass market brand, this is part of our long-term thinking, and we believe the efficiency and the speed of the product launch is going to be probably even faster, built on top of the capabilities that we have already accumulated under the Nio brand. But regarding the specific timing and the launch cadence of those products under the mass market brand, we can still have time to decide based on the market conditions and the R&D progress of those products. So we believe it's still too early for us to share those information for now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And your next question comes from the line of Chang Liu from CICC. Chang, your line is now open.
Yeah, thank you for taking my questions. My first question is about R&D. We know that there is a fierce competition in acquiring talented people in autonomous driving development. So could you share with us Nio's advantages in acquiring them? And in details, could you share with us our current team size of AD development and our targeted team size? And is there any updates on our R&D expenditure for this year? And my second question is that could you update the take rate of BaaS and the Nio Pilot for us? Thank you.
好，谢谢刘畅。对，现在这个 AD 毫无疑问是我们这个非常这个重要的一个研发投入的方向。那事实上来讲 ，Nio 的 AD 的组织架构和别的公司会有一些不一样那我们有4位这个 AP level 的 VP level 的同事直接向我report，所以我们的这个 AD 事实上是整个公司的 AD不仅单是一个部门的 AD。那包括从硬件，包括到这个操作系统，到算法和整个的 AD 的系统的集成和运营。那我们事实上来讲的话，我们觉得 AD 它不应该简单是一个部门的事情。那我们如果从这样去看的话，我们现在跟 AD 工作直接相关的这个 team 的规模现在的话呢，大概在500人左右目前的话。那我们相信到年底的话呢，差不多会再增加300人到800人左右的一个规模那我们当然在这方面的投入我们会持续的去做。那我们这个投入的决心是非常大的。那如果大家去看我们的这个公司的这个历史的话，我们在16年的时候，我们开始搭建我们的 ADAS 的和 AD 的 team。那我们是全世界第一个把 Mobile IQ4 量产的这个公司。那我们的 Domain Controller， 我们整个的系统一直都是自己的 in-house 的研发的，所以我们这方面的基础的话呢，是非常的这个好的。那我们当然在过去的1年的时间里面，我们主要在补充这个感知算法方面的这个 team。那目前来讲的话呢，这个我们的 team 的竞争力，我们相信它是非常的强的。这个是目前我们在这个 AD 的这个研发方面的一个情况。
Thank you for your question. AD is a very important R&D initiative for us, and we are quite decisive to make investment in the autonomous driving technology and organization. Our autonomous driving organization is quite different from other companies, probably because we have 4 VPs that report directly to me personally. So as you can see that the autonomous driving is not just one department, it's actually an initiative of our company. We have teams focusing on hardware, autonomous driving system, autonomous driving algorithm, and the autonomous driving operation. So we believe that this is not just the efforts of one AD department. We will need to leverage all the capabilities we have across the company. Right now, for our AD department, we have around 500 people. By the end of this year, we expected to have additional 300 to 800 people for the AD team. We will continue to make a decisive investment in the autonomous driving technology and the talent acquisition. Starting from 2016, we have already built our ADAS team and autonomous driving team, and Nio is the first company to have a mass production of the IQ4 chipset, and we have built our domain controller, the autonomous driving assistant in-house right from day one. So we have already accumulated many experiences and capabilities in this regard. Starting from last year, the main focus of us is to build up the capabilities in terms of the autonomous driving algorithm and the computer vision. We believe right now we have already built a very strong team.
对，在研发费用方面，我想跟大家交流一下。今年这个事实上从2季度开始，我们的研发就开始提速，因为我们明年我们有3款全新的车型要交付后年当然大家可以想象得到有更多的车型会这个交付。那汽车研发的周期，我们公司已经在行业里面是最快的，但是也需要这个平均来说也需要2年左右的时间。所以今年我们事实上来讲 kick off 了非常多的这个新的项目。那所以今年3季度开始，我们的研发费用会显著的大幅的增加，跟我们的团队的规模和项目的这个增加都有关系。那我们全年的研发的支出，我们大体上还是在50亿人民币的一个规模。当然我们希望今年能够如期的把它花出去，因为这个如果花出去，代表着我们的研发的工作总体会比较顺利。那这个现在可能更多的还是这个增加这个研发的团队的规模把项目的这个进度都能够这个正常的展开。那我们今年全年的到年底的研发人员的规模会是年初的2倍左右，所以我们总体上这方面的研发投入的决心是非常大的。
Regarding the R&D expenses, starting from the second quarter, we have accelerated our research and development in the company. As I mentioned, in 2022, we're going to deliver 3 new products, and in 2023 and beyond, probably we're going to deliver even more products. I believe Nio is the fastest company in the industry to deliver products to the market. Averagely speaking, the R&D timeline for us is around 2 years, which is already the fastest in the auto industry. This year, we have already kicked off many different R&D programs. Starting from the third quarter of this year, we believe we're going to step up our R&D expenses due to the team size and the programs that we have in the R&D pipeline. Previously, we also mentioned that the R&D expenses in 2021 should be around 5 billion RMB, and we would like to see this 5 billion RMB spent on according to the plan, because this shows that our R&D progress is actually on track. So the current focus of us is to build up our R&D team and make sure all the development projects is on track according to the plan. And we believe probably by the end of this year, the size of our R&D team is going to be doubled compared with the size last year.
对这个take rate， 我们 BaaS 在7月份的话呢take rate 已经超过了60%啊，那这个确实 take rate 每个月还是能看到持续的在上升。那 Nio Pilot 我们前面也讲到了，包含我们的精选包在内的话，我们的 take rate 已经在80%，所以总体上来讲的话呢，这个都在上升。
The take rate of battery as a service in July has reached 60% and is growing month over month. Previously, I have also mentioned the take rate of Nio Pilot has reached 80%, including the selected package and the full package. So overall speaking, the take rate of BaaS and the Nio Pilot is on the rise.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Liu Chang.
Thank you so much. And your next question comes from the line of Edison Yu from DB or Deutsche Bank. Edison, your line is now open.
Thank you for taking our questions. I have two follow-ups on Europe. First, it seems there's quite a bit of hiring going on in the Netherlands and a little bit in Germany. Could you maybe discuss the next phase of Europe after Norway? And then second question on Europe, it's very encouraging to see this user advisory board. Can you maybe discuss some of the things that you're doing differently in Europe relative to what's been going on in China? Thanks.
I think for hiring, I would like to share some numbers with our investors. First, in Norway, our team size has already increased to 40 employees in Norway. And of course, Norway is only our first stop to go overseas, to go global. So in the following years, we will also enter other European countries and also other regions. So that's why we continue to hire more people in Amsterdam.
Yeah, 我们这个补充一下，我们在二季度我们已经任命了我们欧洲的这个 CEO 啊，那么他已经这个入职了一段时间，在开始组建整个欧洲的 team。那当然我们会进入到更多的市场啊，包括在德国在内的这个市场。那我们进入这个市场主要会用我们的第二代平台的车。那我们在欧洲的话呢，这个除了在挪威销售 ES8， 现在这一代的 ES8 以外，以后我们在欧洲销售的车型都会基于我们 NT2 的平台的车型，这是我们总体的一个策略。
Another point is actually in the second quarter of this year, we have appointed the CEO of Nio Europe. He is already on board and he has been building up the team for Nio Europe. Of course, we're going to enter more markets in Europe, including Germany. For most of the products we are going to deliver to Europe is going to be based on the new technology platform 2.0, except the ES8. So this is our current strategy for the European market.
对，这个我们在欧洲的话，或者说我们 Nio 作为一家用户企业，我们在各个市场进入的时候，我们都会把这个用户的支持和参与作为我们非常重要的一部分。我想这个从一个原则的角度来讲，我们会坚持。当然具体的这个市场，每个市场有不同的文化，每个市场有不同的这个汽车的使用的这个环境。那我们当然会根据当地的这个情况去做一些调整，但是 overall 来讲的话，我们觉得 user enterprise 这样的一个理念，把用户的体验放在第一位，把用户的利益放在第一位，那去engage 用户到公司的发展里面，这个方式的话， 或者这个原则的话呢，其实在每个市场都是有效的。我们可以分享一个数据，我们在挪威的话，我们要招募200名的这个 UAB 的这个 member， 事实上有大概700-800人报名所以事实上来讲，我们也能看到这个大家对这种方式，以前大家可能觉得好像我从别的这个报道好像感觉这个挪威的对于这种社交对于这方面来说要稍微谨慎一些，但是我们看到这个其实这种参与到一个 community 里面的这种兴趣，其实在全世界来讲都是一样的。
So for Nio as a user enterprise, when we enter the markets or different regions, we have always believed that the user participation and support is a very important principle that we should uphold. Of course, for different markets, they have different cultures, different environment, different use cases. We will need to adapt to those different situations. But we believe the user community and the user enterprise concept should apply to overall markets in the world, because our vision is to make sure that we can put the user experience and the user interest first. This is a general principle for us. A very interesting fact that I would like to share with you is that in Norway, when we initiated the user advisory board, we thought that probably we should have around 200 people, but in the end, 700 to 800 people signed up for the user advisory board. So from this example, we can see that actually the Norwegian people are quite willing to participate in those community events, because previously through the media reports and other literatures, it seems that the Norwegian people are more cautious towards socializing with other peoples. But this example has proven this is the wrong interpretation or the wrong stereotype of the Norwegian people, and we believe that the user community concept should apply to all the people in the world.
Thank you, Edison.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And your next question comes from the line of Paul Gong from UBS. Paul, your line is now open.
Yeah, thanks, everyone. I have two questions. The first question is regarding your plan to add the 3 new models based on the MP2 in 2022. Given most of the Nio space probably cannot put 6 models together, will you try to expand the average size of your Nio space, or are you going to gradually phase out the existing first generation of the products? As just now you mentioned that you have shortened the depreciation and amortization of the first generation of your products. Does that mean it would be gradually phased out and migrated to the second generation of the platform? This is my first question. My second question is regarding the mass market brands. I understand at this moment you are still pending decision in terms of the timing and how to position itself. But can we have a little bit color when you think about the relationship of a Nio brand versus your Nio mass market brand? Would it be more similar to, let's say, Mercedes-Benz and Smart, or BMW and Mini, or Audi versus, say, Volkswagen brand? How do you think about the relationship of the two brands? I recall in last quarter's result, you mentioned that there is only one model in the Shanghai Auto Show that is Wuling Hongguang Mini EV Kiwi version. Is that an indication that somehow the recent online discussions say Nio's mass market brand would also launch some tiny small vehicles? Is it something you are bearing in mind at this moment? Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. 那个确实你说了一个我们比较 总体来讲的话呢，我们对车的认知就是说，当然每个公司有不同的策略，我们还是希望给用户一个稍微多一点的选择。这个当然我们不会像传统的汽车那样推那么多的车型，但我们也不会像有的公司那样子推那么很少的2-3款车型。所以我们会做一个 balance。我们认为车的话呢，不同的 size、不同的这个 function、不同的这个 design 的这个造型，会 match 会有不同的用户。那这个我想 Model T 的这个时代，其实也只是在100年前，在那个时候这个有那么很短的一个时间。这个后边汽车其实回归到它的基本的规律，所以我们会给用户一个有限的一个丰富性的选择。我认为这个是比较合理的一个想象，但大家不用担心我们会搞非常非常多的车型，不会的。当然我们会用一些数字的技术，或者用一些轮换的这样的一些这个展示的方式，让用户能够去这个能够这个体验我们的车。我们想这不会是一个大的问题，特别是现在我们的用户都是在线上订购，主要还是通过线上订购的方式的话，我们觉得这个是能 handle 的。当然我们现有的这个 NT1 的这个平台的车，事实上来讲和同样价位的其他的车型相比的话，比如说和奥迪和宝马他们刚刚推出的这个电动车型的相比的话，那我们 still 是非常有竞争力的啊。那和他们的汽油车相比，那当然是仍然是不同的代际的产品。所以我们 NT1 的车在可见的一段时间之内还是会在市场上进行销售的。那我们明年要量产的3款车啊，那个并不涉及到一个现有的这个车型的一个迭代啊。当然，这个前面Stanley也讲到了，我们出于一个更加这个保守一些的财务政策，我们这个加快了这个折旧，也意味着我们当然会尽快的去把现有的产品要升级到第2代平台上，这个是我们的一个总体的一个方向。
Overall speaking, we understand that different companies will have different strategies regarding their product offering. We would like to offer more diversified choices to our users, but we also need to strike a balance because we're not going to like the traditional OEMs to launch a sea of products for the users to choose from, and we are also not going to like other companies to just offer 2 to 3 products for the users to choose. We believe different users will have a different preference and taste regarding the body size, the body type, the design. So that is why we would like to offer limited but diversified product offerings to our users. We understand the era of a Model T happened 100 years ago, and right now the time and age is quite different for us. So that is why this is our strategy. Regarding the products and the new houses and the new spaces, of course, we are going to adopt the digital technologies or probably use the rotation mechanism to make sure users can still experience our products in the new houses and the new spaces. But according to the current data we have right now, it seems that the majority of our users actually place their orders online. So we believe that this is not going to pose a significant issue for us. Regarding the new technology platform 1.0, we understand our current product based on the NT 1.0 is actually quite competitive if we compare with Audi, BMW, for example, their EV products. I believe our products are still quite competitive, and when it comes to their ICE product, I think our product actually does not belong to the same generation with their ICE products. So for the new technology platform 1.0 products, we believe that they're still quite competitive and will continue to sell those products in the market. Regarding the 3 new products that we're going to deliver in the 2022, we believe that this is not going to affect the upgrade pace or the normal upgrade pace of the products on the new technology platform 1.0. But just now, Stanley have also mentioned that we have taken a more prudent approach to shorten the depreciation and amortization period for the new technology platform 1.0. So this also shows that in the future we are going to upgrade our products on the NT 1.0.
这个新品牌，对你问了一个非常好的问题，就是当然如果做一个简单的类比的话，我们确实更像奥迪和 Volkswagen 的关系或者说 Lexus 和 Toyota 的关系这个是差不多从定位的角度来讲，这个更准确一些这样的一个比较当然这个我们的新的 brand 不会进入到50宏光的这样的一个区间因为他们做的已经非常优秀了，我们现在看到的真正的这个市场欠缺的是 mass market 里面欠缺这个非常有竞争力的产品。简单来讲，我们希望能够有产品能够比 Tesla 的这个更低的价格，但是和 Tesla 能够提供一样的产品和这个甚至于更好的服务，这是我们的一个目标。
I believe you have a very good question and you made a very good comparison. Yes, if we just take the positioning of the Nio brand and the new mass market brand, a simple comparison is going to be more like the relationship between Audi and Volkswagen and Lexus with Toyota. But this is more about the positioning of these 2 new brands. Of course, we're not going to enter the segment of Wuling Hongguang. We believe that they have already done a very good job in their specific segments. We would like to do something different and offer different products for the mass market. Basically, our thinking is that we would like to launch a product that can have competitive pricing compared with Tesla's product, but have much better products and services.
Not much better.
And have
much better service,
better products and much better services compared with the Tesla.
Thank you very much. Very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And your next question comes from the line of Jeff Chung from Citi. Jeff, your line is now open.
Hey, hi. Hello, William, Stephen. Great result. And I have 3 questions. One is about the ET7. If this price being set above 400,000 RMB, can we say that the GP margin should be much higher than the current level, let's say around 30 to 35% level GP margin, which is a potential. And secondly, it's about the export margin. So let's say if the scale reach like 2,000 to 3,000 units a month, can we say that is a GP margin accretive? Because we heard that exports to overseas ASP could be much higher. So could you give us a little bit color, or do you think the export margin will be similar than the China domestic? Yeah, that is the first area. And the second question is about the DNA. And as you just mentioned that it's going to accelerate into the second half of the year. And I just heard you said that equivalent to the cost per car to increase by about 3%, right? So can I clarify this a little bit, and whether this would mainly reflect in the GP margin or the EBIT margin? And finally, it's about the R&D and SG&A. So previously we expect this year's R&D to be around 5.2 billion, SG&A around about 6 billion. So going forward into 2022, do you see that there could be still a potential that this cost should be increasing faster than our revenue growth? And when do you think this cost growth will be slower than our revenue growth? Will it start from 2023 or 2024? Yeah, that's my 3 questions. Thank you.
谢谢 Jeff。那第一个问题，这个 overall 的角度来讲的话，我前面也讲过了，我们在我们整个设定的一个 gross margin 的目标的话呢，在整车的毛利这一部分，我们希望差不多的目标的设定在 NT2 的平台上，我们希望在25这么一个规模这么一个水平啊。那目前来看的话，那当我们 ET7 肯定是能达到这个水平的，当然具体的毛利目标我们还需真实的毛利的水平，我们肯定还需要这个车量产了以后我们才能够最终去看。但从目前来讲的话呢，我们肯定是能 ET7 肯定是能达到这样的一个整车毛利的水平的。那当然另外一个就是我们当然还会持续的提高非车的这个毛利那这个随着我们 NAD 这样的一个模式那我们还有 Nio Life 还有我们所有的其他的这个换电服务等等这样方面的一些这个规模效应的显现呢，我们相信这个其他的这个毛利的这个上涨的话呢，也是可以预期的，所以这是一个 overall 的这个毛利的情况。那么在出口方面的话呢，我们总体的原则还是一个全球的定价那当然在每个地方落地的价格的话呢，还是可能考虑到关税考虑到当地的一些税收的政策、补贴的政策会有一些差异，但总体上来讲的话呢，不会有什么显著的高或者显著的低那总体上来讲，我们还是一个全球定价的一个这个总体的一个策略你把这个先翻译。
Thank you for your question, Jeff. Overall speaking, for the gross margin targets, previously I have also mentioned that on the Nio Technology Platform 2.0, the vehicle gross margin target should be at the level of 25%. From the current data we gathered, it seems that the ET7 should be able to reach this target. But the actual vehicle gross margin of ET7 will need to be validated until the mass production and the delivery of ET7 to our users. For the other products or for the products on the Nio Technology Platform 2.0, including ET7, it will probably meet the 25% vehicle gross margin level, and this is the overall target for us. And for the other margins, just like I explained, that we have AD as a service, Nio Life, battery as a service upgrade, and the swapping services, all this is included in the other margins. So this will also contribute to the improvement of other margins. For the export business, our current strategy is that we would like to have a global pricing, but for the specific pricing in different markets, it will vary a little bit considering the tax and the tariffs in different countries.
We accelerated our depreciation and amortization for the fixed assets for NT1 products. That will be booked in the cost per vehicle. So gross profit margin starting from Q3 will decrease by 2%, as I mentioned in prior questions. Yeah.
Okay. And also, Jeff, with regard to the expenses ratio, we believe from now on, the next 12 months is a very decisive window for us to accelerate our product development and also service and charging infrastructure deployment. However, from the second half of 2022, our economy of scale will gradually manifest, and our expense ratio will start to decline again.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, William.
Thank you so much. Thank you. As there are no further questions, now I'd like to turn the call back over to the company for closing remarks.
Thank you once again for joining us today. If you have further questions, please feel free to contact the Nio's Investor Relations team through the contact information provided on our website. This concludes the conference call. You may now disconnect your line. Thank you.
That does conclude our conference for today. Thank you for participating. You may all now disconnect.